Questioner. Could you state some of those after making the instrument cough, please? Ra. Cough. I am Ra. This is information which you may discover. However, we will briefly point the way by indicating the so-called wheel within a wheel, and picture you been with sleepless eye. Questioner. Did the Orion group use similar methods for their impression 3,600 years ago? Ra. I am Ra. The group or empire had an emissary in your skies at that time. Questioner. Can you describe that emissary? Ra. This emissary was of your fiery nature, which was hidden by the nature of cloud in the day. This was to obliterate the questions of those seeking such a vehicle, and to make it consonant with these entities' concept of what you may call the Creator. Questioner. And then how was the impression or information passed on to the entities, after they saw this fiery cloud? Ra. I am Ra. By thought transfer and by the causing of fiery phenomena and other events to appear as being miraculous through the use of thought forms. Questioner. Then were there any prophets that we have now recorded that sprung from this era, or soon after it? Ra. I am Ra. Those of the empire were not successful in maintaining their presence for long after the approximate 3000 date in your history, and were, perforce, left with the decision to physically leave the skies. The so-called prophets were often given mixed information, but the worst that the Orion group could do was to cause these prophets to speak of doom, as prophecy in those days was the occupation of those who love their fellow beings and wish only to be of service to them and to the Creator. Questioner. After making the instrument cough, Ra. Cough. Questioner. Could you tell me if you're saying the Orion group was successful in polluting, shall we say, some of the positively oriented prophets with messages of doom? Ra. I am Ra. This is correct. Your next query shall be the last full query for this session. Questioner. Could you tell me why the Orion group had to leave after, I believe, what figures to be a 600-year period, why they had to vacate? Ra. I am Ra. Although the impression that they had given to those who called them that these entities were an elite group, that which you know as diaspora, occurred, causing much dispersion of these peoples so that they became an humbler and more honorable breed, less bellicose and more aware of the loving kindness of the one Creator. The creation about them tended towards being somewhat bellicose, somewhat oriented towards the enslavement of others, but they themselves, the target of the Orion group by means of their genetic superiority weakness, became what you may call the underdogs, thereby letting the feelings of gratitude for their neighbors, their family, and their one Creator begin to heal the feelings of elitism which led to the distortions of power over others which had caused their own bellicosity. Any short queries may be asked now. Questioner. There's one thing that's been bothering me a little bit which I was just reading about, Ra. Cough. Questioner. It's not too important, but I would really be interested to know if Dwight Eisenhower met with either the Confederation or the Orion group during the 1950s, or that time. Ra. I am Ra. The one of which you speak met with thought forms which are indistinguishable from third density. This was a test. We, the Confederation, wished to see what would occur if this extremely positively oriented and simple congenial person with no significant distortions towards power happened to cross peaceful information, and the possibilities which might append therefrom. We discovered that this entity did not feel that those under his care could deal with the concepts of other beings and other philosophies. Thus an agreement reached and allowed him to go his way, ourselves to do likewise, and a very quiet campaign, as we have heard you call it, be continued alerting your peoples to our presence gradually. Events have overtaken this plan. Cough. Is there any short query before we close? Questioner. The only other question that went with that is, was there a crashed spaceship, and are there small bodies now stored in our military installations? Ra. I am Ra. We do not wish to infringe upon your future. Gave we you this information, we might be giving you more than you could appropriately deal with in the space-time nexus of your present somewhat muddled configuration of military and intelligence thought. Therefore, we shall withhold this information. Questioner. Okay, fine. Sorry to bother you with all of that. Ra. Cough. Questioner. They were just bothering me. We will continue in our next session with the law of one, and keep that uppermost in the scope of the book, and try to get more deeply into the philosophy, as we build a framework for reference into the law. Thank you very much. Ra. I. Questioner. Oh, please, I'm almost ready. Is there anything that we can do to make the instrument more comfortable? Ra. I am Ra. You are conscientious. Be careful to adjust this instrument's upper appendages if its upper body is elevated. I am Ra. All is well. It is our joy to speak with you. We live in the love and light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one Creator. Adonai,